Thinking about moving to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or just want to know what it's like there? You are in luck. We've got Krista Lorenzo right beside me, and I know the right way to point if I could keep my finger in the frame. Say hello to everybody, Krista.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
And we've got a new quick intro. We're getting right to the business, but the first thing we're going to talk about, and I didn't tell you we were going to do this. This is new. I want you to say hello, which you already did, and now I want you to pick a number between 1 and 350, and then I'm going to read you that random question on Google to start the show off. So something fun to start off with, between 1 and 350.
8.
8. Oh, one up to the top. All right. I don't have to scroll that far. That's good. All right. Where are some unusual places you've been? Well, that's kind of a cool one.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. So whenever I went to college, I did a semester at the University of London. So we traveled all over Europe on the weekends, my roommate and I. And so I have actually been to the Czech Republic, which is not a normal place. We went to like Spain and Italy and all the fun normal ones, but the Czech Republic was probably my oddest one or my most unusual one.
Did you have to learn any kind of what they speak Czech? Is that what they speak there?
No, I don't even know. We went to all kinds of countries and we had no idea what anyone was saying. So I took Spanish, but that didn't help me. Except for Spain. It really didn't help me in Spain either because I didn't know it well enough to speak.
Yeah. Sometimes those Latin roots that are kind of in everything kind of help you sometimes, but I don't think Czech, I feel like they don't use that stuff there. It's not from that.
In Germany, I couldn't understand a thing.
Totally. And we're going to learn more about Krista in just a minute. This is Wanna Move There, the show dedicated to all humans, giving them the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to a different area or information on if they want to visit somewhere for vacation or to visit family or whatever the case may be. And I'm trying a new abridged intro, as I mentioned here, but I will tell you that my name is Derek Bixler, realtor of 15 years here in central Pennsylvania. Hit us up in the comments if you want to say hello or ask a question that we can answer later. We will come back and address any comments later if we don't see them while we're going, which is entirely possible because it's just a little thing that lights up and I don't pay much attention to it. And check us out on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, all the audio and video places. That's where it'll be living, both live and then it'll live there after the fact. So that's my quick intro now. Hopefully I'm going to listen back later. Hopefully it's more than or less than 30 seconds or a minute. So now we will get back into it with Krista and we're going to learn a little bit about her before we learn about Pittsburgh. So tell us the last movie you watched. You did know this question was coming.
Yes.
While I bring your bio up to get into, tell us the last movie you watched.
It was Sing 2 with my daughter. I have two girls that are 16 and 18 that still very much love Disney movies and anything child related. So I watched it with my 16-year-old.
Nice. Is that in 3D? No.
I don't know. We watched it in our home by some method that she figured out.
Yeah, because these days it's same as theater on something. Yeah. Whoever made the movie has an app where you can watch it same day.
He knows how to figure all that out, so we just let her do it.
Nice. What's the last movie you've seen in a theater?
The last Spider-Man.
Oh, like the most recent one, the one that's out right now?
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
We went with our girls and saw it.
That's definitely available in 3D. Did you do that or no?
We did not. I'm not a big 3D person. I feel it's kind of overwhelming.
It is a lot. You've done it before then?
Yes,
You've experienced it?
Yeah. When they were little, they wanted everything in 3D. And like some of the ones like the Alice in Wonderland and some of those were just a bit much. It's very overwhelming.
I agree. I go whenever a Star Wars comes out. If it's at our IMAX theater in 3D, I will go there and treat myself to like a matinee by myself and get all the treats and act like a kid. Yeah. And the first time I went to one, all the people at the showing before me were walking out with this dead zombie kind of stare. And I'm thinking, was it a bad movie? What's going on? They all just had this dead kind of zombie stare. And I came out. You get in kind of fuzzy, kind of hard to get into it, and then you get into this world, and then I came out the same way. Like, whoa, that was crazy.
It's hard to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And now I got your bio up, and it looks like you actually grew up in Pittsburgh. So you are born and raised in Pittsburgh. You went to high school at Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Is that the actual name of the high school, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati?
Well, Okay, so whenever I was like 10ish, my dad decided to start getting into real estate investing. And so he started with like multi units and then he started into single family. And as you know from doing real estate, it's a different interest rate if you are buying it and living in it versus buying it for investment property. So we would buy them, fix them up, and move into them. Buy them, fix them up, and move into them. So he was building his inventory at a good interest rate. So I started in Peters Township and was there through 8th grade. Then he bought one in Mount Lebanon. So ninth grade, I went to Mount Lebanon High School. And then he also did like construction work and got transferred to Cincinnati. So we went there. We thought it was going to be a summer, and it ended up being 3 years. So I graduated from Indian Hill in Cincinnati and then came back to Pittsburgh to go to University of Pittsburgh.
So the Super Bowl aired a little while ago, and I know absolutely zero about sports, but Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl, correct?
They were in the Super Bowl, and I did root for them. Being from Pittsburgh, I will always be a Steeler fan, but I didn't have any other connection to the Rams or to, the Bengals. So I went with the Bengals, and I guess that wasn't the best choice.
You got disappointed.
Yeah.
I like the Rock's intro. He said something. He made their intro
God.
sound way better. Electrifying, I think was the
Yes.
word maybe he used. And I was like, oh, I don't know anything about sports, but I did turn it on and kind of watched a little bit of
Yeah.
it. But sorry you got disappointed, but congrats to all the Rams fans out there.
Yes.
The joke, if I'm in like a text circle and people are like texting about the Super Bowl or like what's going on or like
Yeah.
who's going to win or something, I always just throw in there like what's football or like hopefully they get what's some other sport, a home run or something like that. I
Yeah.
try to act like
Well,
the dummy.
being from Pittsburgh, it's very, very sports centered. So with the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates, there's always something on.
Yeah, we can relate here. I'd say we are half Pittsburgh, half Philly people here in central Pennsylvania. So we get a little bit of each, and sometimes they clash a little bit here and there. You went to college in Pittsburgh as well, and then you went to Robert Morris University for your master's. Is Robert Morris in Pittsburgh?
It is. So,
Nice.
yep, I like it here.
And are they downtown, University of Pittsburgh or Robert Morris?
Pittsburgh is a little east of downtown. So it's actually called Oakland where it is. But I mean, it's like a 5-minute drive. And then Robert Morris is actually west of Pittsburgh. It is out by the airport.
Okay. And we'll talk about the colleges and the education choices out there a little bit more when we get to
Okay.
it as well. And you went for architecture and business for your bachelor's, and then you went for master's in business. So lots of business there. And we can always use that in real estate for sure. Your favorite
Absolutely.
color is gray. I haven't had gray yet. I like that you didn't say blue. So why do you like gray?
I don't know. I think it just kind of goes with everything. I don't know. I've always liked pink and gray, but I find myself leaning more towards gray. I mean, with clothes, with housing, with decorating, with paint, I like it.
I like that you were honest about that because most people would say blue or red, and my official one is probably red. But I've said before that if push came to shove and you said which one do you what clothes do you buy, what color do you use, what items, what color, it's usually black, 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 and if it's not, it's white, white, and probably gray. So I'd be in the same like plain palette with you probably.
Yes.
And the skies, we'll talk about that in a little bit too, the weather. If your skies are anything like us in central Pennsylvania, you get used to that gray sky. Your favorite food, protein shakes and cheese, not at the same time. What kind of protein shake is this a concoction that you make
No,
of
I
your
like
own,
vanilla,
or is it
I like
is it
vanilla
mix?
in the morning and chocolate at night. A few years ago, well, it's probably more than a few now, like in the 2015, I did a couple different fitness competitions, and it was a lot of like protein shakes and egg whites and lean meats and things like that. And I just got used to it. And we spend so much time like in our car and at showings, things like that. It was something that's always just portable and easy to take with me.
Do you have a shaker cup, or especially everybody
Yeah.
that has a lot of shakes has some kind of cup that is their go-to cup? You have
Yes,
one of those
I do.
standard ones with the circle
Yep.
mouthpiece?
Yep. And then I mean I have like a ninja blender that I'll, if I'm at home, I'll make it in the blender just because then it's a little frothier. But if I'm on the go, a few shakes is good. I'm easy.
You got to step it up to a Vitamix someday. You got to get that Vitamix.
All I put is protein shake and ice. It's not that.
Oh, so you have nothing. Well, ice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I
I
don't have a Vitamix. I found a good replacement at the restaurant store. There's actually like a better one. Restaurant store. Highly recommend. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to get my microwave there because it's like restaurant grade stuff, but it's cheaper somehow. I don't know. And
Oh,
client gifts too. They got those big, like those coolers that everybody likes now. They had
yeah.
them for super cheap for a while there, and I
Oh,
got one
wow.
for all my clients. So restaurant
Check
store,
it
list
out.
trip. You do
I've
have
never
pets.
been
What
to a
kind of
restaurant
pets?
store.
You should have one. You're in Pennsylvania. Maybe you
I would
don't. I don't
probably
know.
do. Yeah.
What pets do you have?
I have a dog. He is a Rhodesian Ridgeback. He is probably like 12 or 13. We got him from the pound, so we don't know his exact age. Um, and he is the light of our family and also like the annoying little brother. And the older he gets, the more he just does whatever he wants.
I feel that at the end of my dog's life, you know those Kong things that you can put
Yeah.
peanut butter in. That's all. It was all day. I don't care. It's on his last couple years. Kong's all day for you. You can get whatever you
Well,
want.
that's what we're like. Everything he wants, we're like, oh, he's old. Oh, just give it to him. And he's gotten very spoiled.
And then they probably go faster because I just fattened them up at the end, but whatever. Cool. And then you also have two kids. You mentioned two girls, 16 and 18. And you said they still like to sing movies. Do you guys, they
Oh,
still
yes.
like all that stuff?
They love that stuff. Like Encanto, they have seen probably 20 times. So,
Yeah, the
yeah.
new cartoons these days, the new, well, I'll call it animated films, I like them. I would watch them without my kids for the
Oh,
most
yeah.
part, most of them.
Yeah. Their favorites are
I,
always Coraline and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like they probably watch that anytime my daughter's home from college, they watch that, every time they're together.
Coraline?
Yes, it's very dark. So I think it might be like a Disney Pixar. It's like this girl who doesn't feel loved in her family. And so she goes to like the dark side and it's called like the other mother. And the other mother has like buttons for eyes and she's trying to get Coraline to come live in the dark side. They like it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like it sounds familiar now that you
Yeah, you probably yeah.
talk
I mean,
about it.
it's old, and then Nightmare Before Christmas they watch year round.
Yeah, I love any of those, whatever
Yeah.
that is, that stop animation or whatever that
Yes,
is,
they
that
love
Wes
those.
Craven or whoever. Yeah, super cool. And you're married to Sean. My best friend growing up was Sean, spelled that way, so I always relate that to that. So I like Sean. And your hobbies, running, dates with Sean, and you love going on your date to breweries, trying new restaurants, traveling, and having fun. So let's plug maybe the last restaurant or brewery you went to.
Okay. Well, we went to Alla Familia, which is in Pittsburgh. We just went this past weekend for our little date night, and it has been there forever. They have another location that's actually closer to us, but we like that one. It's a little closer to downtown. And I mean, it's literally just in a city block. And where we sit, we get table number 5. So don't everyone steal my table, but we get table number 5. They have a couple different kitchens throughout. Like they have the main kitchen, the appetizer kitchen. So it's a small room that's the appetizer kitchen with 4 tables in it. 3 are on one side and then 1 on the other. And table number 5 is the one by itself. And then like the chef is like right there beside you. So like as he's doing stuff, they'll like sit there and chat with you and everything. So we love it there, and they just have amazing, it's like Italian food, great steaks, good wine, but it's delicious.
Sounds awesome, and I like an open kitchen because then you know
Yeah.
they're not messing around back there. Everything's gonna be good.
Yes, absolutely.
And then do you have does that section, that table get you a certain server or servers that you like that you
Actually,
could
it
shout out
does.
and go out
So
and
funny, yeah,
check out
funny you
whoever?
should ask. So Robert is the sommelier there. who does a little bit of management, does all the wine stuff. And typically he is the server in that area. So we're always excited because that's who we get. And he knows everything about wine. And like, we'll just start talking and saying what we want. And he's like, I got it, you know? So it's nice to have someone be able to figure that stuff out for you.
Nice. So everybody has to check it out if you visit there, but you have to hit up Krista first. And because you want table 5, if you like table 5, they probably want to get table 5 too. So just make sure you're not going to be there the same night.
Right.
Do you need reservations at this place?
Absolutely. So we were there on Saturday night, and that night they had 265 reservations. So
wow,
very, very popular. It's very, very good.
Nice. So hit you up first to get the lowdown and what to do and how to get in there. Maybe she can pull some strings and get you in there. Maybe you already have a reservation set up and they could just hop on your table with you. How big does the table seat? This will be my last question about this place.
4 top at that table.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Now let's talk about Pittsburgh. We've already started a little bit, but I will bring up my map here if I can remember how to share screen. And I think I'm gonna, we'll just do just the map. There we go. All right, so I'll zoom out so everybody that's watching around the world or aliens up above, whoever's watching this can tell where Pittsburgh is. So we've got our handy dandy Google Globe here. And you can see all these are all my real estate referral partners. So anybody on the West Shore, if you're, or the center of the country, I guess, hit me up. I need to add some more up in Canada too. But you can see the main pin here by the dot where you can see where I am is where Pittsburgh is on the eastern coast of the United States. And Pennsylvania is almost on the coast directly, separated by New York and New Jersey. And then Pittsburgh is all the way to the western side of Pennsylvania, a little bit south too. We call it South Central, I guess. We call Harrisburg South Central, so I would call that, west?
We're southwest.
West South Central Pittsburgh. Down here, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. It is right now hazy. We talked about how it's gray here, so it looks like maybe it's gray there right now.
It is. It's gray today.
Nice. And it's 17 degrees, which is exactly what it was here in central Pennsylvania this morning as well. Maybe a couple degrees warmer now, but about the same. You're obviously in the same time zone as us, in Eastern Standard Time Zone. And now I will read the Wikipedia facts here off of Google. They just pull a little paragraph off here. I'm probably going to stop reading this, but I'm still going to do it for the sake of this one because I already pulled it up. Because they usually pull some stupid stuff, or it's just not really, I don't know. I'm disliking it more and more every time I do it, but I'm going to read it this time. So, Pittsburgh is a city in western Pennsylvania at the junction of 3 rivers, and we'll ask you what those 3 rivers are in a minute. It's Gilded Age sites, including the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, the Carnegie Museum of Art, and the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens speak to its history as an early 20th century industrial capital for steel, I'm guessing. We'll talk about that a little bit. In the North Shore neighborhood are the modern Andy Warhol Museum, Heinz Field Football Stadium, and PNC Park Baseball Stadium, not PNC Bank, like I said earlier when I pre-read it. So does that sum up the city and we don't need to talk about it anymore?
That's okay. I think a lot of people have the old like steel mill, dirty city, view of Pittsburgh, and it's not like that at all. It is actually beautiful. And those 3 rivers, it's the Allegheny and the Mon, and they come together to form the Ohio. And that is downtown at the Point. So Pittsburgh was very much, in the time of like George Washington, it was a main like transportation area. So a lot of it is set up with like bridges and things like that. And Pittsburgh actually has more bridges than any other city in the world, including Venice. So I think just because of the way it is with those 3, the 3 rivers, we need a lot of bridges. Oh, so you might have heard recently on the news about our one bridge collapsing.
Yes, and it's all over Pennsylvania, really. We've got old infrastructure everywhere, and especially country roads. I'll be going to a listing and it'll say, sorry, you're not going that way. It's 10 minutes extra around.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue actually into what is the landscape like. We can see it's green there, so we're not in a tropical or desert
No,
place, obviously.
not
But what's it
tropical at
like?
all. It is a lot of mountains. So a lot of mountains, a lot of rivers. So we have a lot of tunnels that go through the mountains and then rivers that go over the mountains. So travel, people aren't the best drivers because every time, even if it's the same size 2 lanes going into a tunnel, everyone slows down right before they get there and across the bridges. So a lot of mountains, very, very hilly, and no tropical anything.
Yeah, and for those that are the Pennsylvania Turnpike, if you went from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, you'd go through, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 different tunnels to get there, I
Probably,
think.
yeah. Yeah.
Is that where you usually see them? Are there elsewhere, or is it usually like if you're coming east, you would go
For
through
me,
some?
I live in the South Hills. For me to get downtown, I have to go through a tunnel. There's 2 different tunnels because so if you're looking at that map, south of the city is Mount Washington. So the only way to get through there is going to be, there's 2 different tunnels. There's Fort Pitt Tunnel and there's Liberty Tunnel. And there's more, but those are the two main ones. So the only way to really get to downtown is through tunnels and bridges.
Wow. Well, that's cool. And it is, now that you mention it, it is, I guess it's really hilly there, just like it is here, but maybe even more so, because don't you have rail cars or something, tram, or what do you call those things? Cable cars that go up?
We do. So on Mount Washington, that same mountain that I was talking about, there's actually 2 different inclines, and they're super old. Like my grandma used to take the incline to get to school. So whenever you get near that downtown where there's 2 tunnels there's actually 2 different inclines that take you from down above, up above, where like the restaurants and shops and everything are. And it's really part of like our transit system. So we have like buses and trolleys and things like that, but we still use those old trolleys too.
Huh. And so it's kind of like a gondola, if people might be more familiar with. It's like a little bus that rides up on
Yes.
a cable from
Yes.
somewhere low to up
Yeah.
where.
It's basically, it almost looks like a train track and this little thing. And there's like 3 levels in there. There's probably, it can probably hold
3
like
levels.
Yeah. They're all in, but because think of like a table booth, So it's like a booth. So, and then it just goes up the mountain.
Huh. And
And
people
there's
only.
only-
It doesn't carry vehicles or anything. It's
Nope.
not. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very cool. And it's something you have to, obviously, it's a touristy kind of thing.
Absolutely.
If you go there,
If you come
it's
to
something.
Pittsburgh, you go on the incline.
Totally.
And it also
and
takes
then,
you to Mount Washington that has the overview of the city. So that's a huge tourist spot too, because if you go, once you're on top of the mountain, it overlooks downtown and everything and the rivers.
is that something you have to buy tickets for ahead of time, or you just show up?
You can just show up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then what about the trees and you have like pine trees and oak trees and that kind of
I knew you were gonna
landscape,
ask this
right? Or
tree
whatever.
question.
I know you don't have to tell me specifically, but it's similar to here in central Pennsylvania is what I'm getting. It's not palm trees and that kind
No,
of thing.
pine trees, lots of pine trees, oak trees. That's the only trees I know.
If you go for a hike, there's going to be shade. There's going to be stuff around you. If
Absolutely.
it's summer, you won't be able to see through the woods.
Correct.
Yeah, which is different in San Diego or somewhere. I went for a hike
yeah.
on, what is that, the Pacific Coast Trail or Pacific Crest Trail, whatever it is. Super
Yeah.
boring. So there's nothing. It's just these little bushes down low, and you can see
Oh.
20 miles where you're going. You can see the whole trail out in front of you, but it's a
Yeah.
million miles away. So it's like you're never gonna get there. There's nothing to look at. The sun's beating down. It was cool, but I prefer what we have with the trees
Yeah.
and the lushness and all that.
And I feel like a lot of places you hike are kind of like the same places I like. And it is a lot of just big trees and seeing like the light come through different ways and everything. I love that too.
Yeah, and I do come your way to do stuff, which we'll wait till to the entertainment section, I guess, to talk about that more.
Okay.
So, what about the weather and the climate? We said it's gray there today. We're gray here in central Pennsylvania. Feels like all the time.
Yeah,
It's not,
our
but
climate's probably similar. Like I don't know what it was. They said it, with the wind chill, it was negative when we woke up today. I actually had a call yesterday. It was from a gentleman who's moving to Pittsburgh, and at the end of the call, he goes, "So are you guys like done with winter?" And I'm like, it's snowing and 20. I'm like, we're not done. And I was like, where are you coming from? And it was like Alabama or something like that. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, my daughter said, "Is winter's over? Why did it snow?" I was like, "No, we'll probably get 20 inches in the end of March somehow
Yeah,
for some reason when it's supposed to be over."
yeah.
And I just shared this screen a little bit. This is something new. I'm trying to bring more of this stuff in here, but so this is just on bestplaces.net. I look up what the average stuff. So you got about 27.7 inches of snowfall every year, and that's right on par with the U.S. average. So you're in line, nothing crazy there, but you definitely get it. Do you have snowplows and salters and all that stuff when it
Oh yeah,
happens? It's taken
absolutely.
care of.
Yeah.
And do you close school?
Well, prior to COVID, sometimes they would have like a 2 hour delay. Now they just will switch to online learning. So these poor kids don't even get snow days anymore. They just switch them to
Exactly.
online learning.
I've been saying we're going to boycott one of those days at some point.
Yeah.
We're not going to the Zoom class. We're going sledding.
Yeah, but
There's fresh
usually
powder out there.
a 2 hour delay. We might get like one, well, prior to COVID, we'd get like 1 or 2 good snow days a year where they'd like actually cancel. But now it's usually just the delay. I mean, we have the equipment, we're used to it.
And then under sunny, it says 160 days of sun per year, which is a little bit less than half, which is about on par with central Pennsylvania. So is it kind of that gray overcast? You're in a valley? You got 3 rivers there. So are you in
Yeah.
a valley or not really?
Well, I guess it depends where you live. Because of the hills, like I'm not necessarily, because there's like a lake. I live on a hill, and there's a lake like at the bottom of the hill. So I'm like in the middle of the hill. But that's sad that it's 160.
That's all right. It makes the sunny days that much better.
I think that's true. I feel like if you live at the beach, you don't appreciate it the way other people appreciate it. So here, whenever it's sunny, like everyone will be like, the sun's out.
And then you feel like a waste of space if you take a nap or don't go outside. It's like, I have to, because
You
next
have to
week
go
it's going to
outside.
rain
It's
for
sunny.
10 days.
We do
And
have
then
that.
your high is about 83. So that's nice. It's not getting super hot there. July is when your highs are. January's are when your lows are, around 21 degrees, which is, again, both of those are on par with the average. And the elevation, you're at 764 feet. The average, so you're kind of lower than the average. I never look at the elevation thing. That's the first time. The average in the U.S. is 2443 feet above sea level, and you're sitting at 764. I wonder if sea level has something to do with clouds and cloudiness. I want to look
I
up
don't know.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania now. But
Maybe
that
I
gives
did it wrong
everybody,
and I just didn't know it.
yeah, it's quite possible. And then, is there anything else you'd comment about weather? You get all 4 seasons, right? We know it doesn't
That's
get
probably the
super
best thing.
hot.
Yeah. So I think getting the spring and getting the fall, we have a lot of family in Florida and we have a lot of family in California. And so the one thing that they always say is that they don't get fall and they don't get spring. So spring is my favorite because I mean, after the winter, it's like you're just ready for the change and everyone's just happy and excited. And then fall is just usually, absolutely beautiful. So I love living here and the fact that we have all 4 seasons.
I'm with you. Fall, I would say September, October is my special favorite time, but also
Yeah.
spring. Spring, you get all the flowers and the new
I
bloom
love
and
spring,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, and with the lush landscape you actually have like everything comes alive.
Oh my goodness, yes.
If you're not used to landscaping, I know here you'll have all of a sudden in 1 week, all your trees will grow like 3 feet all of a sudden, and now you got to go around and trim everything in the spring.
Yep. Because we
And then
have
what
all
about
that rain too.
Yeah, did it say a lot of rain?
Well,
Did
I
I
don't
bring
know.
that up?
But
No,
I
it didn't
feel
say.
like
Oh,
in the
precipitation.
spring we do.
It doesn't say amount of precipitation, but it says 140 days of precipitation and 106 in the U.S. So at least 20 of those days, looks like 20 of the days when it's overcast, it is not raining. So it's just overcast for 20 of those days.
Doesn't make it better.
At least it's not wet.
Yeah.
So what's the commute like? Do most people live outside of Pittsburgh and commute
Yeah.
into the city to work,
I
or
would
they
say
work in
a
other
lot of
places?
people a lot of people live outside of the city. So the city is mostly businesses. It's turning over to a lot more of the old commercial spaces. They're turning into lofts and things like that so that more people can live downtown. There are a couple different high rises, but most of it is right outside the city. I would say most people's average commute is probably about 30 minutes or so. So lots of major highways that go downtown. And then we also have a bus and a trolley system. The bus goes probably anywhere in that white area that says Pittsburgh. The buses are going to run there. And then we also have from the South Hills, there is a trolley system. And it's been around, for years. It's like literally the old trolley cars. So there's a couple different lines that start different places in the South Hills, and it goes downtown. And then all around downtown, over to the North Shore, over to Station Square, it's free. That public transit system is free for you to ride the trolley. So if you're going to like a Steeler game or a Pirate game or a concert, you can like park somewhere less congested and just hop on the trolley and go to the event.
Nice. So it's not just like a tourist thing. Let's go ride the trolley for funsies. Yeah. It's an actual commuting thing.
Oh yeah, a lot of people use it so that they don't have to pay for parking downtown. And like I said, we live in the South Hills, and our girls liked going downtown like when they were in high school and things like that, but we didn't really want them driving down there. So they would take the trolley down and go to like events and, go out to eat and go to pirate games and things like that. And we felt safer with them doing that than driving.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. I'm hoping my kids are so young they may never have to drive themselves if they don't want to.
Right.
Or at least the car will be uncrashable or something at that point.
By then, yeah.
So what about toll roads? Obviously, I know you have Easy Pass there because you're in Pennsylvania, and you have the Pennsylvania Turnpike that goes there. Are there other toll roads other than the Turnpike?
The Turnpike is probably 45 minutes from downtown. So like, I don't even know if we're going on vacation and driving somewhere, I might be on a Turnpike, but I don't really use that. They just put a new like Southern Beltway in that starts in the South Hills and goes out to the airport, but it's like the same drive time, but it's nice because no one's ever on it. And then further south, we have a lot of Route 43 and a couple other ones that are mostly for like truckers and things like that, just to keep them out of the congested areas. But if you want to pay, you can go on it. I mean, if you have the Easy Pass, then it's like half the price of the toll.
Gotcha. And I heard some article popped up on my Googles that said the Pennsylvania Turnpike is the most expensive toll road in the world or something. So
yeah. Well, and I saw something, and I think it's because a few years ago, they went to this like automated system, this toll by plate. So you don't have to actually stop and put money in. You just drive through, they take a picture of your plate and they send you a bill. Well, they said people aren't paying their bills. So I don't know like what system they have in place to go after them. But
and it's not lienable or anything because it's not the state that, you can do whatever you want and they can't do anything about it really.
So they said, we saved all the money on the people sitting in the toll booth, but now we're actually losing money because no one pays them. So I think they're still working on that.
Yeah, got to make it a lienable thing or you can't get your license. I know a guy that does debt collection and he does it for like speeding tickets and stuff. It's like a gold mine because they have to, because they can, I'm going to suspend your license if you don't pay this thing, and they have that authority to do it.
Totally do that.
Yeah, drives up my bill when I need to use, because we actually use it here. It's one of the main. If I could use it, I'll use it over the other roads for sure. So what about bridges? Do you have to pay tolls on bridges?
Well, not currently, but they are trying to toll 4 of our most common ones, and everyone's fighting because like the one they want to put a toll on, I literally am on it probably 6 times a day if I'm showing houses. But I think they tried to pick the ones that like were in the worst condition. So they're like, well, don't you want it to work? So, but they're in the process of trying to implement that. So we'll see how that goes.
You got to pay for it somehow, I guess.
Right.
Everybody hates when the HOA raises prices, but
yeah, no one wants the bridge to collapse, but no one wants to pay for it. Yeah.
That's totally true. And then what are the major industries there? I know Batman was filmed downtown, right? Or one of the Batmans was filmed downtown, but I'm guessing hosting filmings is not a major industry there.
Actually,
or is it?
It is. So because of the downtown layout and that it's not like a huge city, it's easy for them to shut things down. There are actually a couple different, it's called the Strip District, and it's like outside of Pittsburgh. It's actually where they're building a lot of the lofts and things like that so people can commute. But there are a couple different like movie things there. And it's mostly like outside movies, but they film like several here a year. I'm not good at like remembering all of them, but there's a lot. I think the last, like Inspector Gadget and all those, so that they could use the bridges and everything. So like the bridges, they want to in Mount Washington and those different views, and like some of the older houses, they use that a lot. So other major industries, so it's huge for healthcare. So we have like University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, and they have several different hospitals there. So college-wise in Oakland, there is University of Pittsburgh, CMU, Chatham, Carlow, and then right down the street is Point Park College. So that is where the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center is, Hillman Cancer Center. They also have 2 different children's hospitals. So I think healthcare is huge in this area. As far as employers, they're bringing a few different Amazon in as well. There's an Amazon here. They're trying to do like 4 different distribution centers. There's an Uber here in the South Side. Google's here in the South Side. So I think a lot of tech and like biotech and medical.
Wasn't somebody testing driverless cars, or wasn't that something happening in Pittsburgh?
Yes. That was Uber on Sunday mornings. So my running group, we meet like in different parts of Pittsburgh and run on Sunday mornings, and we would actually see, they never got to the point where they were empty. There was always someone in the car, thank goodness. Just because I'm not sure about it yet. But we would always see them like Sunday mornings. We run at like 7:15. So that's when like the city streets are empty. So that's when they would like test them downtown and things like that. So we would always see them testing them. I don't know how well that's going. I haven't heard anything about that recently.
I feel like they stopped doing it for some reason. I mean, it's going to happen someday at some point. Yeah. It's just, they got to recalibrate maybe. Or the money ran out for the grant. I don't know. Did you say Carnegie Mellon? Is that something in Pittsburgh? Yep. Was it Carnegie related to that maybe?
Probably, because that huge tech coming out of that school. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was. So funding could have been it too. Or
right.
Yeah, totally. And then what about military? Is there any military stuff around there?
Not really. I mean, we have a couple different VAs, but nothing, not really.
And then what about tourism? That's probably went up a little bit. I mean, it's not known as like a huge tourist place, but I'm thinking it's gone up a little bit in the last few years, maybe.
They host a lot of events. We have a big convention center, so they host a lot of events and things like that here. I think it's a city that's easy to get in and out of travel-wise, so that's why they do a lot of different conventions here. A lot of our tourism is really related to the sports. So the Steelers and University of Pittsburgh both play at Heinz Field. They're both like usually sold out. Right down the street from that is where the Pirates play, and then the Penguins. So I think like a lot of our major competitors are within driving distance. So that brings a lot of people here as well.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the sports, because obviously that's a big contributor to the economy. Are your fans like the Philadelphia fans? Crazy? Are they crazy, totally crazy. Pennsylvania fans?
Crazy, and they believe that they are awesome no matter what. Like especially my husband Sean, no matter he'll believe that they're going to win no matter what. So yes, very, very diehard fans. And it's funny because like a lot of other cities, when we travel, we always find like a Steelers bar in like other cities. So I think Steelers fans, so many people come from Pittsburgh and like go warmer places, or like snowbird to Florida and things like that. So you really find Steeler fans everywhere.
I was thinking about that actually when the Super Bowl was on with Cincinnati, and I'm thinking, well, because they never won a Super Bowl before, right?
Right.
And they still haven't.
Yeah, no, still haven't.
Probably because nobody wants to go there. If you go to Orlando or LA or any of these nice places, or Texas or any number of places, even if it was a cold place, you might choose I don't know, some other Portland or Chicago or some big
Right.
place. Why would you choose like Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or something? So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Although Pittsburgh is usually pretty good at most of the sports,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Right. The Pirates haven't been good for a long time, but everyone still goes to the games and loves them, and we try.
I used to
But
that was my team growing up with like Barry Bonds and
yeah,
Bobby Bonilla and Andy Van Slyke and Doug Drabeck, and now that's the extent of my sports knowledge right there.
and Penguins usually are doing amazing, and Jari's killing it right now. So we're doing awesome.
Do they get Canadians coming down?
Yeah, yeah. So we do, especially because they can't, like right now, Canada's very limited because of COVID. They're only letting like 500 people in the games. And we're like at full capacity. So they're getting a lot of people coming here to watch the games. And they're good. So I mean, it's entertaining.
Yeah. And then what is there to do other than all the sports stuff? So you got all the sports stuff. Well, let's talk about which one of those stadiums or places that they play would you go to for concerts? Is there one that usually holds all the concerts and stuff?
It depends on the time of year. So where the Steelers play is probably the biggest summer venue because it's outside, it's open. So that's going to be at Heinz Field. They do like a lot of country concerts there, like huge capacity. If it is winter, it's probably more going to be at PPG where the Penguins play. Like Elton John was there, Billie Eilish was just there. So a lot of and obviously it's winter. So a lot of and every now and then they'll do them at PNC Park, but it's just different at that one. But I would say Heinz Field and PPG are probably the big ones.
Okay. And what's the last thing that you saw in a stadium?
Well, we go to I don't go to Steeler games because my husband's a bit of a fanatic. Like, I just can't handle it. So I haven't gone to a Steeler game in years. I love them and I'll watch them on TV, but I don't actually go. We go to Pirate games all the time. So we, if it's like my daughter's birthday, my husband's birthday, like we go for everything. So the last thing I was at was a Penguin game like a couple weeks ago because my daughter is a huge Penguin fan.
Hockey's fun, even if you don't like hockey. That's a fun sport to go watch, even if you don't like sports. Hockey's cool, especially if you're far down close to the glass. Yeah.
And she likes, like, she'll watch any team. Like, we'll be watching like a Penguin game, and as soon as it's over, she's like NHL hockey and finds another one to watch.
What about tailgating? So you got hockey. These all, well, hockey, baseball, those are in different seasons for sure. Are hockey and football in the same time period?
Hockey kind of, well, so hockey, we're like halfway through the hockey season right now, and football just ended a few weeks. So we still have a few more months of hockey, which will then take us into baseball season.
So there's always tailgating to go to, even if you don't like the sports.
Tons, yes. I think there are a lot of people who go just to tailgate too.
That's why we used to always go to Penn State for Penn State games. The home game is a big, huge tailgating thing, and half the time we'll just listen to it out here. We can watch it, listen to it on the radio, and just keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a huge tailgating city.
And then what else is there to do? You got all these rivers. Do you have water sports and that kind of thing?
Not really. So, I mean, there are people who boat, but most people don't actually go in the river. It's not like skiing or, it's not like water skiing or tubing or anything like that. So lots of boats. No one like docks right downtown. Most of the docks are a little further up the river. So a lot of boat traffic, but not like people in the water. I think people more do things like brewery, like right now, breweries and wineries are huge. They're like just popping up everywhere. So, and we have tons of like good food and restaurants and things like that to do down there as well. And a lot of that is really central to downtown and like the surrounding city areas. Like Lawrenceville is about 10 minutes from downtown, and they are just like renovating everything and putting like all the good restaurants in there. There's probably 5 different breweries along the main street right there. So just a lot of like walking and doing things like that.
And the boats are more like the pontoon kind. It was same here, Susquehanna River. Some people do water ski kind of at this dam area, but it's more of a sit on your pontoon boat and watch the fireworks and maybe not much else.
It's come down, park, watch fireworks, watch the Pirate game, park and listen to the Steeler game, things like that. It's not, I think that there's like debris and stuff in the river. So we say don't get in the river.
We'll leave it at debris. There's some debris. We won't get into what kind of debris it is, but yeah, nice. So you talked about the food and the breweries and distilleries and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that's been growing like everywhere else? And is it the pockets kind of like outside the city? Like you said, that one neighborhood is kind of outside, is being revitalized, and then different pockets of these things?
Yeah. So I would say there's probably a couple in every area. So all the neighborhoods have a couple in them, but even like downtown, there's probably at least 8 downtown. There's one right by the point. So I think Pittsburgh has a lot of walking and biking traffic. So they try to put everything like in accessible. Like we have those bikes where, you can swipe your credit card and just pick it up somewhere and then drop it off somewhere else. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of like trails that go along our rivers and things like that too. So a lot of people will like bike somewhere, park the bike, get out and have a drink and have lunch and then bike back. I've never been one of those people. I need. I can't.
But did you have a riverfront park? Do they have their exercise equipment every quarter mile? There's the push-up thing or whatever.
Oh yeah. And a lot.
Do you guys ever do the? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say a lot of them have like parking lots, so you can like park there and like ride to a restaurant and things like that.
And then do they ever do those things where people paint like a cow or we're the farm show here, so we had people painted cows, and then there are these painted cows all over town, and then a lot of them end up on the riverfront.
Yeah, we did that with dinosaurs. So I think it's because remember when you were reading the like intro to Pittsburgh and you said like the Natural History Museum? So at our Natural History Museum, there's a huge like dinosaur area there. So whenever they first started, and they even have like a huge dinosaur outside. So whenever they first started that dinosaur project, they were just like around Oakland in that area. And now like you'll just find them randomly places.
That's awesome. And it's a good transition. So there are museums also. So there's the natural history. I think it said there was an art one or something too.
So they're actually part of the same thing. So whenever you go in, like the main door, the natural history is on the right. And then the, oh my goodness, what's it called? The art. So there's the art side and then the natural history side. So that's actually in Oakland. And then Phipps Conservatory, which is all flowers and things like that, is literally right up the street from that. And then downtown, we have the Andy Warhol Museum. In the North Shore, there's the Mattress Factory Museum. So huge museum. And then obviously like science.
Wait, hold up. Mattress Factory Museum?
I don't know if it was originally a mattress factory and that's why it's called that, but it's literally like, so the North Shore is like all very, very close buildings, like, late architecture, just like beautiful old high ceilings. And it's literally like on this little one-way street back there, but it's called the Mattress Factory Museum. Huh. So lots of museums and cultural stuff and things like that. Lots of shows. So right downtown, there's Benedum Center and Heinz Hall. And that's normally where like the symphonies and the big shows like Hamilton and things like that are. And then there's a lot of little theaters scattered around like O'Reilly, just like smaller theaters for smaller shows.
And then what about which is kind of proliferating now, Primanti Brothers? Am I saying that right?
Yes,
Primanti Brothers?
Yeah.
But the original is somewhere there, right?
Oh yes, yep. So the original is actually in the Strip District, that area where I was saying, where they're starting to do more of the lofts and things like that. So there's one there, there's one in Oakland. There's probably like 15 different ones. Now they're like, you can't go further than like 10 minutes before you find one. And they're putting them in other cities too.
And what's the they're just giant sandwiches and they have fries on them? There's something, there's like a classic thing.
Yeah, it's like fresh Italian white bread. And then you pick whatever meat you want. I always got like sweet sausage. My husband always gets like capicola. And then they have it's a sweet and sour coleslaw, but it's more like a sour that they put on there. And then they put the French fries on there and then fresh tomato and then the other piece of your bread. And then they cut it in half. And it's like this big.
Can you get different lengths?
Nope. It's like sandwich bread. So it's yeah. So
Oh, it's a sandwich, not a sub. I'm thinking sub for some reason.
Not a sub. We're not. Yeah, that's like more the Philly side. We're sandwiches here.
Are there any other quintessential food things that kind of come out of there, or that? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Pierogies are huge here. And even whenever like the Pirates play, we have like the pierogi race and things like that. That's probably, I mean, Pittsburgh is made up of like a ton of different like ethnic neighborhoods. So I think each area has something. Like there's Polish Hill, there's Little Italy, there's like all, little things where I think whenever it was such a huge melting pot that whenever people came here, they kind of gravitated towards, people that were similar like that.
And then what about fireworks, arts fests, kind of like the pop-up festivals for holidays and that kind of thing? You have all that, and where do they take place?
So downtown, a lot of our stuff happens downtown. So downtown, and it's called the Three Rivers Regatta. It's usually like a boat show and things like that. And then they also have Three Rivers Arts Festival, which is usually like a couple weeks long. And down by the point there, they set up all the different booths. All the food is usually at the point, and then like on the like sidewalks and things like that is where all the artists will set up. So most of our stuff happens like down at the point, North Shore, things like that. So, but there's an arts festival every year, the regatta. And if the regatta, they do like racing and things like that, right on the river there, but they still don't get in the water.
Unless something bad happens, they might end up in the water. So there's no triathlons in the river there. I think they do those here, but nobody likes them. They don't get a good turnout, I don't think.
I actually did one. There are two different ones that are popular here. One is done like inside at a pool, and I'm like, I could never do that. So the one I did was a little north at Moraine State Park, where they have like a lake. And so, but it's super, super hilly, which I did not know until race day, because I just trained on like a trail that was a little flatter. And then we got there and I'm like, oh, this is hilly. And
do you not live in Pittsburgh?
I don't know why. I did not think that it would be like that. I thought it was going to just be flat. It wasn't. My friends didn't tell me. I guess they thought I knew.
Yeah, I would think so. But
yeah.
So where do you, if you try to get out of Dodge and have a little getaway, let's start with the airport. That's a quick answer. What airport are you going to fly somewhere else?
Pittsburgh International Airport.
Okay, and then where are you driving to if you're doing a driving vacation? Are you going all the way to Jersey Shore, which is kind of like Jersey is the vacation capital of the world, I heard.
No, it's not. Really?
Well, you think New York City's right there, Philly, like the second or third largest city. All of us in central Pennsylvania, DC, another big one. Even if you don't go there as your go-to every year, which a lot of us do, you've at least been there probably.
Oh yeah. So when I was little, we went to Stone Harbor in Jersey for 2 weeks every year. So as I've gotten older, I'm more of a flyer than a driver. My family, we like to fly. So, but if we are driving, we drive to National Harbor in DC. That is one place that my girls love going. So we will stay like at National Harbor and then spend like 2 days in DC and then like a day in National Harbor.
What do they like about it? The free museums or?
They love the museums and things like that. So over where National Harbor is, it's just a tiny little area. Everything is walkable. So it's like restaurants and a couple hotels and a couple things, but it's like right on the water. So there's like a little bit of sand there and there's like an outlet there and things like that. But they love going to the museums and all that history stuff there.
Yeah, it's a great place, a great resource for anybody that lives close to it. I've always loved our field trips when I was younger, going there so many times. And then you talk to people in California, like, what, you've never been to DC? That's weird.
Yeah. I know. We would take them like once a year because they love going.
Yeah, or New York even. Do you go to New York? Would that be not a day trip, but
no, because it's about 7.5 hours. I took the bus there once when I was in college for the ball drop. and I've never driven since. We fly now.
Ooh, that's a good question. Do you here in central Pennsylvania, Harrisburg drops a strawberry? I guess we grow a lot of strawberries here.
Really?
Mechanicsburg, where I went to high school, drops a wrench, mechanic. And Boiling Springs drops a bubble, and Dillsburg drops a pickle. So, do you guys
Really?
drop anything fancy around there?
No. I don't even know if we drop anything. I've
You got
never.
a big beam, a big steel beam. That'd be easy
Maybe
to
we
do too.
do.
Just a regular crane with a big steel beam and drop it down.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
you
know
should
there's
start
something
that.
called First Night, which is downtown for New Year's, but I don't know if they drop anything. That's really cool. I like those ideas.
And then anything else you want to say about stuff to do or anything your favorite thing to do? Obviously, you said the food and the breweries
Yeah.
are a thing you like. Where do you run? You said you like to run. Do you run
Oh, okay.
outside or on your treadmill?
So, depending on the weather. So I live about half a mile from a lake, and it has a trail that goes all the way around it. So if I'm just by myself, I like doing that, or just going out on the street. But I'm actually part of a running group called Fleet Feet Pittsburgh, and every Sunday they pick a different location within about 30 minutes of downtown. So usually they're pretty central to downtown, but I mean, it's literally like a couple hundred people who come and meet. We meet at, usually it's like a coffee shop or something like that. We meet, everyone goes inside, goes to the bathroom, comes outside, and then we run. And they give us like, there's usually like a 3 mile map, a 5 mile map, a 10 mile map. And if people are like in the middle of marathon training, there will be like 20 mile maps and things like that. So it's been amazing because I've always been like an explorer of the city. But whenever you're on trails and not in a car, there are like roads and paths and things that you never see when you're in a car. And obviously, when you're running, it's a little slower. Well, for me, it's a lot more slow than whenever you're in a car. So it's just things that you don't notice. So it's really opened my eyes to a lot of different things out there.
And will you run when it's gray and drizzling and
Yeah.
raining?
I actually prefer cold running. I get super hot when I run, so winter training is usually my favorite time. I struggle in the summer. I usually get real low with my mileage, but in the winter, I it's like my prime time.
I feel you. I don't like the hotness either. That's why I'm
Yeah.
up at like biking at 4 a.m. in the
Yes.
winter
Yeah, you're
or in
always
the
in the
summer.
dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the, and it changes it up. It's not the same thing. The same trail is now different because it's dark. And then one more question. We do have to
Okay.
move on to what people get to for the money, but I do have a question about what to do. The Great Lakes are north. How far would that be?
Erie, about 2 hours.
Oh, that close.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And
and
do they
it's
have
literally
beaches there? What would you do there?
Erie. They do have beaches. It's not that big. So it's I think it's either beach. They have numbers. So whenever you go there, it's a cool little getaway for like a few days. Like and once over COVID, we went like in the winter and took the kids and like rented a cabin. It's if you want like a close drivable 2 hours, take your kids to get their toes in the sand. It's a great little spot. It's not like you can stay on the beach or anything like that. Like it's like the beach goes out. It's almost like a little jetty. You drive, you park, and you go out. But it's probably about 2 hours north of here.
Cool. Yeah. There's probably tons of stuff you could find if you were looking for stuff to do on lakes. That's pretty close. So
Oh,
that's kind of cool.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then also you didn't mention it. Maybe you just don't do it, but I mentioned that I go to Seven Springs a lot, or I did before they closed down their bike park. So Seven Springs Mountain Resort is close to there. So you guys have skiing. I'm
Yes.
sure there other mountains around.
Skiing.
I'm guessing there's something.
Yeah, so there's Seven Springs, Hidden Valley, and then there's two other big parks like Boyce Park and a couple other places that have tubing and things like that for winter activities. But Seven Springs is definitely the biggest one.
And they're blowing most of their snow, I'm guessing.
They are.
Yeah. Like here, icy Pennsylvania. If you could
Yes.
ski in Pennsylvania, you can ski anywhere.
Yes.
So what are people going to get for the money? I'm guessing it's similar to here. I didn't look up anything.
Yeah.
I think our average price is like around 250-ish. I would say it's more like 300-ish to win that kind of entry level picket fence, 2-story, probably a 2-car garage on 0.2 acres built in the 80 or 60s through maybe 90s. So 300-ish is kind of that single family
50s. Yes. Yeah.
entry.
I think that's totally the same here. So, I mean, you can get a smaller 1,000 square feet, one car garage for 150 to 200 ish. But if you're going, a little bit bigger, 1,500 square feet, 3 or 4 bedrooms, you're definitely going to hit that 300 price point. And depending how close you are to the city, is going to determine that acreage. I think a quarter of an acre is probably pretty normal. As you get 40 minutes outside of the city, it's probably more like a half an acre. I live like 25 minutes from the city, and we have an acre. So the further out you go, the more acreage.
And then downtown, your city's a little bit cooler? I'll use the word cooler than Harrisburg is, although I love my town. But so stuff generally here gets cheaper in the city. Is it the same there, or is that the higher price stuff downtown Pittsburgh, the old stuff that people are redoing?
Yeah. As they're redoing everything, we're getting probably 600,000 for a 2-bedroom close to the city, 1-car garage, maybe in an alleyway. And then the lofts are probably going to be even more than that. So anything that is within 15 minutes of the city that has been updated is going to be a minimum of 450 or up.
And so you have your choice of, you could find something old. Obviously, there's old inventory to fix up or that's already been fixed up. Is there also new construction that people can tap into?
So a lot of the newer construction is going to be, more rural because everything, anything within probably 15 minutes is already built up. So if you're going to go 30 minutes outside of the city, you're going to get in a new construction, which is going to be much higher price points to start. And the new construction in the city, a lot of times they'll, tear down an old building, and what used to be one house, they'll tear it down and build like a duplex that isn't touching, or like 2 townhouses or something like that, and really build up so that you have like a 3 or 4, levels.
Is anything protected? I'm sure some of the stuff is historic, and you're filming Batman movies there because of the cool architecture. So I'm guessing there's something that's protected.
There are a lot of historic sites that are protected as well. And those are the ones that like you can renovate, but you have to keep it in the same exact style. You can't like tear it down.
And then you mentioned that you have an acre and you drive, 15, 20 minutes, I think you said. Is that how far somebody would have to go to get something?
If there's no traffic, it's 25 minutes for me. But I also have a house it was my grandma's house that was built in the 50s. So if you were building new in my area, you're not getting an acre, you're getting closer to a quarter of an acre.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds about right. Same here. As small as they can possibly make it, as the township allows. And then are there HOAs? Here we don't traditionally have like a lot of HOAs, but generally newer construction does have some sort of HOA to make sure people don't paint their house purple or something.
Some of them do, but a lot of them now with like new construction are more like social HOAs. So like it's like a community, and you can opt in if you want to do it, unless you're like specifically in a townhome community or something like that. A lot of our neighborhoods don't have HOAs. I would say 1 in 12 that I sell may have an HOA.
Gotcha. And then what about the luxury market? What would you say maybe it starts at here? And I used to say 700-ish would start it here in Central PA. Now I'd maybe push that up to $1 million or so even. What would you say the luxury market kind of starts at? And then what are those people buying also?
So if you're near the city, you're getting more of like the brand new, sleek, modern everything. But there are also places like Sewickley and Fox Chapel that are the old houses, Shady Side, Squirrel Hill. It is, that's where like the Carnegies and the Mellons and, the people like that lived, with the big, huge, like 3-story houses. So 2 totally different things, but it's going to be that same price point.
Nice. And what if it was like I want 20 acres? How far away would you have to go to get some big piece of land or a farmette or something like that?
Probably, I'd say like 40 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. You would need to go into like Washington, Butler, or Beaver County. Definitely not Allegheny County. There's just nothing like that. So further out, and you can absolutely find it.
And stuff out there, are they a well septic generally?
For the 20 acres, you're going to be, yeah. So yeah, anything I would say within 30 minutes is probably public sewer and public water. But as soon as you get further out than that, it is going to be septic tanks and well water.
Gotcha. And then we will end it off with something that has nothing to do with real estate or what we're talking about or Pittsburgh or anything, but does have to do with you. And this is hopefully a easier question. Well, at least it's not I think I told you I was going to ask this question. If you could do any other profession, what would you do? Would you be anything else? A business? You went to school for business, right? Architecture?
I'm a true entrepreneur at heart. I was selling candy on the bus when I was a kid. So I would be an entrepreneur of something. But if it was like my dream job that I know I'm not going to do, I always wanted to be a backup dancer.
Oh. Did you watch In Living Color back in the day?
Oh, yes, yeah. I watched all that, and I actually am a Zumba instructor, so I get to live a little bit of my fantasy out, you know.
Awesome. Is it at a Zumba? Do they have their own facilities, or you go out of like the Y or something?
They just run different places where there are other classes. Yeah.
How can people find you? What if they want to take a Zumba class with you? Tell everybody here. I'll bring this will be part of the how to reach you. If you want to, she's going to tell you aloud her phone number and email and website so you can find her if you need to buy or sell a home or whatever in Pittsburgh. But also I want to know how they can take one of your classes. Okay. So hit it.
Awesome. So just reach out to me and I can tell you what days and where I teach. Or if you want to reach out to me about real estate, I'm here for that too. So my phone number is 412-956-6563. You can call, you can text. My email is krista.lorenzo@pittsburghmoves.com. And my website is kristalorenzo.com.
Do you own pittsburghmoves.com or is that somebody else's?
That's Coldwell Banker.
Gotcha. I figured there was a reason there. It was different because I almost copied and pasted. Then I saw it was different. Yeah. So yeah, you could reach out and I'll have all her links to all her socials and her website and email and all that stuff in the description, up or down or wherever you're watching or listening. Contact me if you need to buy or sell a home in central Pennsylvania or anywhere in the world so I can hook you up with people like awesome Krista in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through a window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We still need inventory pretty badly. I didn't ask you that. It's February 14th, Valentine's Day. I just gave away. What's the inventory like?
It's horrible. So yesterday alone, I put in 3 offers for 3 different buyers, all multiple offer situations. I know the one had 6 offers. The other ones were probably very similar. So very limited inventory. It's crazy out there.
Yeah, same here, same everywhere from what we're hearing. So in February 2022, still need inventory in Pittsburgh. And now that I've given away the illusion, we'll end the show. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Hit us up in the comments and hit the subscribe button so you can get notified every time I come out with a new episode. Thanks for being here, Krista. Say goodbye to everybody.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
See you, everybody.